But we have doorbelling literature right here.
Dino Rossi's seventh political campaign is taking him back through the neighborhoods of his first.
We went up here before there was even some Amish.
Right.
Right?
Way before.
Right. No. But you do know Congressman Riker's not running again, right?
I do know.
And I'm doing this the old-fashioned way, going door to door. That's how I became your senator.
That's how we go way back when. I do remember that.
Rossi, a name known for decades in Washington politics, first elected to the state Senate in 1996. But he's probably best known for his statewide races, including the gubernatorial bid against Christine Gregoire in 2004 that made national headlines as one of the closest elections in U.S. history. It ended with a trial, 2 recounts, and a loss for Rossi by just 129 votes.
Folks ready to win?
He would go on to challenge Governor Gregoire again in 2008, then Senator Patty Murray in 2010, falling short statewide, but winning the region that makes up the 8th District in those same 3 races.
I've been always a supporter of you. But
one thing I can use your help with, though, that's really important, is just a good word of mouth.
Okay.
East King, East Pierce County. These are folks who have been with me for many years, and we've been through a lot of battles together.
Rossi has name recognition as well as local and national GOP support on his side, raising nearly $3 million in campaign contributions so far.
It's simple. Dino Rossi supported the new tax law.
But national Democratic political action committees are already spending money to oppose him and try and flip the 8th. This race considered a key target of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee as one of the 23 districts nationwide that went for Hillary Clinton in 2016, but also re-elected a Republican to the U.S. House. While the district has never elected a Democratic Congress member, this year national pundits and analysts consider the 8th District a toss-up, with the win to the backs of the Democrats, not the Republicans.
I don't think it's a blue wave. But it's not going to be easy, no matter how you look at it.
Historically, the party of the incumbent president loses seats, sometimes a lot of seats, during midterm elections. Combine that with a wild-card president and a series of controversial policy moves, from a zero-tolerance immigration policy at the southern border to escalating trade tensions, something particularly concerning to a trade-dependent Washington state.
I've never seen anybody win a trade war before, and that's pretty clear. But in watching how the administration, how the president especially negotiates, how he negotiates is what he does is if he wants 100, he asks for 200, and he gets 110 and complains about it.
I, Donald John Trump.
Rossi was not an early supporter of President Trump during the 2016 election season.
Are you Trump all the way?
No, he wasn't my first choice.
But served as a delegate for then nominee Trump at the Republican National Convention.
I think all in all, things are moving along. It's just a little rougher program than I think anybody thought it would be.
Rossi says he counts the GOP tax cut bill, the economy, and Supreme Court appointments as wins. He gave more careful answers when responding to recent headlines on hot-button issues such as immigration.
I don't think we should be separating families. I don't think that's the right thing to do. We also need to do something about security on the southern border as well, or you'd be back in the same boat again. So I'll treat President Trump exactly the way I would have treated Barack Obama or George W. Bush. If I agree with him, I agree with him. If I don't, I don't. I'm not running to be the apprentice.
Rossi says he isn't seeking endorsements of national political figures, including the president, instead trying to keep the race as local as possible and emphasizing wins during his time in the state legislature.
Skills that I have, that I've demonstrated in Olympia, being able to work cross-party lines, being able to bring the Republicans together, but also bring moderate Democrats with me.
Rossi most recently was appointed to the state Senate last year to temporarily fill the seat of the late state Senator Andy Hill. It's a seat he chose not to run for last fall, and a seat won by Democrat Moncadingra, a reflection of changing demographics on the east side of King County. But when it comes to the 8th Congressional District...
This is really ground zero for me. And I know the other side thinks it's theirs, but I beg to differ.
Rossi argues he's on home turf with neighbors who know him.
Well, ready for the big run?
It's going well. Been very blessed. People have been coming out of the woodwork to help. We got a lot of people that, I represented, obviously, so many people in this area over the years.
Can I get a picture of you? In fact, I can't wait to send this to my boys.
I love it. Well, they're registered to vote here too, aren't they?
They are.
Great.
They're ready to vote for you.
Thank you.
Now, we have extended footage of our interview with Dino Rossi online. It covers several topics from health care to the Supreme Court. We also have our profiles of the 3 Democratic candidates that we aired last night, and we will be re-airing our mini debate with those candidates tomorrow night at 5 p.m. on King 5 News.